So what's going on with Arsenal? The team, after being 5 points clear, come the halfway point of the Premier League season, when we broke for the World Cup, have suddenly come crashing down. At match week 22, they had a 5 point lead in the table with a game in hand of Manchester City, and since then it's all been a massive downturn in form and in confidence for the Gunners. The title run that looked so promising just only a few weeks ago, with a manageable gap to Manchester City and easy winnable games ahead, has suddenly become an uphill task. To accompany Arsenal's downfall has been the fault of Manchester City, and as we all expected, come the end of the season, they always hit form, and this has been proven through the last 10 games in all competitions that Man City have won, and at the moment they're still unbeatable. That early season inability to find a goal or break down a defence has all of a sudden disappeared, and they're looking clinical, they're striking fear into many teams, and Haaland's goals now are just becoming overpowering for teams to defend to, and the likes of Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Jack Grealish, De Bruyne and the likes are just getting over top of teams and overpowering teams, and that strong run come the end of the season that we all predicted has come, and Arsenal is sort of wilting under the pressure of Manchester City. As I said, the form's come good at the end of the season, like we've seen in many seasons prior where Liverpool have been fighting Manchester City. It's all good and well leading at the start of the season, but when it comes the end of the season, when Manchester City are purring and firing in all cylinders, it's hard to stop them. And right now, it seems that Arsenal are struggling to keep in front of them at the moment. Looking at Arsenal, they've dropped some really big points this season. Recently at West Ham away, to Everton away and Southampton away. 3 teams who are truly fighting relegation, and 3 teams who might not see in the Premiership next season. So the inability to win against these teams have been really, really striking. And with those results, one coming before the World Cup and then 2 after, it's key to see that the confidence and form has really dropped off from Arsenal. Looking at the downturn performance, I guess it's been summarised in the last 2 games. Liverpool away last weekend, the Gunners were up 2-0, not necessarily controlling the game, but in a strong position, and a team that would win the title would hold on from there and control the game and force Liverpool to have to work the ball into the box and defend deep and defend well. But Liverpool got on top, controlled the game, and ended up tying the game 2-2 there, which is unfortunate because of the Salah missed penalty. It could have easily been 3-2 to Liverpool, and Arsenal having another loss there. And following that 2-0 come back to 2-2 at Liverpool, they did the same thing at West Ham, a relegation battle team. They led 2-0 early. Saka had a chance to convert a penalty and extend the lead for Arsenal, but missing that penalty and Jared Bowen's goal and another comeback for West Ham, making it 2-2 there, meant the Gunners dropped 4 points in 2 games there, and they've dropped points from 2 goal leading positions, which is, for a championship winning team in the Premier League, you have to need to be perfect. And for the first half of the season, they were ruthless. They were winning games they probably shouldn't have. Just looking back to the Bournemouth game only a few weeks ago, where Arsenal did trail 2-0, ended up coming back 3-2 to win that game. It seems that sort of momentum, that good spirit around the club that was at its peak that time there, that Bournemouth result is quite not there anymore, and the confidence has sort of wilted away, and these last 2 results have been detrimental to their chances of that sort of form and goodwill, sort of good feeling around the club continuing on coming into the season. And all of a sudden now the team looks like it's under pressure. It's wilting under that pressure, and it looks tense. The team hasn't been quite firing on the same level it has at the start of the season, and it's really clear to see. The cause of this downturn, it's not 100% can be clear, but when I look at a few key factors, the absence of William Saliba, a really, really important centre-back for Arsenal, who can almost win the game through his defence and the ability to turn the defence into the attack for Arsenal. They're a strong counter-attacking team. They like to control the ball, but about the ability and the importance this season we've seen from the centre-backs in the league. You look at Manchester United's Lisandro Martinez, and you look at the failings of Chelsea without having 2 set centre-backs. It's important, and it can't be overstated, the importance of a centre-back. And without Saliba there in recent games, maybe that is the cause of this downturn in form and the ability to ship 2 goals in a leading position. Other important components is the youthfulness of the squad. The team is young, it's developing, and I guess no one saw them being in this position this early in their tenure and Mikel Arteta's reign. It wasn't expected they'll be fighting for titles this early. I think a cup run this year would be accepted, but they're in this position now. But are they a bit over their head? They're not as experienced as Manchester City, who've been there and done it now over the last 5 to 6 seasons. These players have experienced winning. They know how to win. They know how to close out a season. And you just look at the recent seasons where Liverpool faltered under the pressure of Manchester City coming through. So the youthfulness of this squad just might get the better of them here. Like, their legs are starting to get a bit heavy. They're not used to the pressure of winning a title like this, and with the pressure and the squad of Manchester City, it's hard to remain on top. And maybe that's coming to show at the moment. And I've finally got written down maybe just finally the pressure of those high pressure games finally catching up with the team. They've played in a lot of important matches, a lot of comeback wins, a lot of tight wins, and that was all falling into place early on in the season. But since then, it's been hard to come by. These two back-to-back 2-2 draws following 2-0 leads just shows that maybe the legs are starting to fall away from this young team. Maybe the high-pressure nature of all these games, due to being leading all season and having the pressure of Man City behind them, are just getting the better of them, and they're wiltering here coming towards the end. So this is a few reasons I believe why the Arsenal just have to slow down here come the end of the season. When we're looking ahead to the future, they've led all season, but it could be towards the end of the season here that they give away this reign at the top of the Premier League to Manchester City. We've seen it happen before. It could easily happen again with this strong team. Pep Guardiola's got them firing all cylinders, and with a ruthless finisher like Haaland in behind one of the greatest creators the Premier League's ever seen in Kevin De Bruyne, it's not a feat of the imagination to see Manchester City come through and win this game and win this title right at the end. Looking forward, I guess, to games to come. Arsenal got a must-win game against Southampton this Friday. If I lose or draw this one, you can almost rule the title out for the Gunners, but I see them bouncing back in this game and getting a strong victory. But then after that, it's almost a season-defining game. It's almost the grand final of the Premier League. Arsenal are going to have to travel to the Etihad Stadium to play Manchester City, who have been formidable, as I said, winning their last 10 games in all competitions. They don't look like they're going to lose. They haven't looked like they're going to lose for the last 2.5 to 3 months. So a big occasion for Arsenal. Even a draw, will it be enough? I hope so for the good of the season. We hope it goes down right to the end. But if Manchester City get the win, I feel like it's going to be a one-way ticket to the title for them. And after that game there's no easy games either. There's none ever in the Premier League. But for Arsenal, they have trips away to Newcastle and Nottingham Forest, who are fighting for survival, and also visits from Chelsea, the arch rivals, and Brighton as well, who are a team that are really, really strong. They're united together. Great players like Matoma, McAllister, and Evan Ferguson there. So they're going to supply a bit of a threat there to Arsenal, and they end the season hosting Wolverhampton Wanderers, a team on the come up here recently under Lopetegui, who have been really, really improving week by week, and a really fierce competition to play. On the other hand, Manchester City have got a different sort of game. They've got 3 relegation candidates, which I feel like they could easily get the best of in the last few games here. Saying this, I always have to host Chelsea, who at the moment are out of form, but you never know when things might click for that team. They've got quality players all over the pitch, so that'll be an interesting game to see. And then tough away games at the end of the season at Brentford and Brighton, who, as I said with Brighton before, Brentford are really similar, really united, cohesive unit behind a great manager in Thomas Frank there. So a tough end to the season for Manchester City as well as Arsenal. But City might have just a lighter run home, just showing the importance of the game coming up on April 26th between the two teams. So looking at it all, with Arsenal being out of all the other cup competitions, will that benefit them? Losing the Europa League and penalty shootout a few weeks ago to Sporting Lisbon means there's no other fixtures on their fixture list. They can purely focus on the Premier League, and at the time we all thought that'll be the benefit of the team, but maybe that focuses and putting too much pressure on the team, and they're wiltering under that pressure there. And then I guess City and the alternative are fighting in 2 other cup competitions, being the FA Cup and also the Champions League, which has been of high importance to Pep, Manchester City, and his players now for the last few years. And I feel like this is, if any years to win it, this year could be the year, with Bayern Munich trailing at the moment, and also Real Madrid not being at their best this year. So Manchester City are going to be focusing on the cup competitions, and it could come at a betterment for Arsenal if they're a bit more fatigued and not as concentrating on this league title run. And then you look at teams like Brighton, Brentford and Chelsea, who are all can play some great football on their day, so that they could truly have an impact in this title race and take points away from these two big hitters coming towards the end of the season here. So I guess in my opinion, to end the season off, I just see City getting the best of Arsenal just due to their form, their experience and the ability to win in clutch situations. They've been there and done it. Pep's a great manager and he knows how to win. So I feel like the youthfulness of Arsenal, the inexperience in these clutch moments just might bring them slightly short this season, but by no means is it a loss or unsuccessful season for Arsenal, because they've exceeded all expectations. No one expected them to be here and be in this position, and it should be exciting for the Arsenal fans and the players to be involved in a situation so late in the season with a chance to bring that Premier League title home. But I guess it's all to be seen in the future. I'm really excited as the season comes to the pointy end. As I said, we've got that massive match between these two teams on April 26, and I can't wait to see how that one goes and how the rest of the season pans out.